Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back to the 45th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast for all things heart of Midlothian news chats and reviews. Joining you as always is my good self, Ewan Ramsey, and an even better self, Alan Scrimger. Alan, how are you doing, good sir? You all right?
I'm very well, mate. Very well indeed. Yeah, just glorious day outside. It's a good day.
Absolutely, sir. Like we said before we even started, I don't even have to use my ring light, nor you, and we look naturally beautiful. So even better to the start of the podcast. And just on a note, we do hope you are all good and well. But again, why wouldn't you be Heart's Edge closer to mathematically securing third place, even though it is probably already done? It'll be nice to have it fully secured after another win at Tynecastle just on the Saturday past there with a 2-0 victory against Livingston. Obviously, we'll delve a bit into that as well. Before we do start, though, as well, we're going to have a bit of a Scottish Cup draw reaction for, as most of you will know, it'll be an Old Firm derby and an Edinburgh derby in the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup, which we cannot wait to see. It'll be absolute scenes. So we'll have a bit of a reaction to that. And also, before we start that, Alan's going to bring you a bit of info from the Big Hearts Day, of course, which was on the same day as the Livingston game on Saturday. And it's just a bit from Alan just on what the Big Hearts is all about, and if you want to get involved, Alan will tell you how to do so. And finally, we would usually do a preview of the next game, but of course, my favourite time of the year, Alan, international break. I just can't get enough of them because there's always a fucking lot of them. But hey ho, I digress, sir. But yeah, we probably won't do a preview for the next game, which is going to be away in Dingwall against Ross County, so we'll probably leave that to a later date. But yeah, that's going to be your podcast for this evening. But as always, guys, if you are not subscribed to the Since I Was Young podcast on YouTube, please think about subscribing, smash that like button as always. And if you want to get in contact with us through our socials as well, you're more than welcome to. We're on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, all at SIWYpod, and alternatively as well, if you want to get in contact with us through our email as well, you certainly can do. It's at sinceIwasyoung1874 at gmail.com. And finally, if you want to get in touch with either myself or Alan, please feel free to do so. Our links will be in the description to our personal Twitter pages. So Alan, as I just mentioned there, it was Big Hearts Day on the day of the game against Livingston. As I just mentioned there, you're going to give us a wee rundown on what it is all about and how the fans can get directly involved.
Yeah, so the Big Hearts, obviously, charity is the charity arm of the football club, and they do amazing work in the community, local community, and further afield as well. The emphasis at the moment is obviously due to kind of the way of the world, the way things are just now. It's about people fleeing from war-torn countries. And so essentially the Big Hearts Day on Saturday was all to do with sort of refugees and how we can welcome them. And, you know, they have different kind of plans in place where they basically bring people from similar backgrounds together through football, playing football, kind of build relationships, obviously friendships and things like that. There was a large number of refugees in attendance at the Livingston game. I saw a group. They posted something online. It was a group of the Afghan refugees that had come across and were obviously in Edinburgh for a little while, and they gave them tickets to the game. Obviously, I think that was possibly part of the ticket drive that Liam and Rab did a few weeks ago. And there was school kids there as well as related to that as well. So it's just, obviously, it's nice to see the charity kind of opening their arms and doing things like that. It's a big part of the club, as I say, and it's important that these people are welcomed into a community. And football is probably the best way to do that, you know, building relationships through football. And everybody's got a common interest. And if you can kick a ball about, then, you know, why not?
Definitely.
So massive credit to them. They were around the stadium on Saturday, taking donations from people. They also have a text line, so if anybody wants to donate, the text line is still open. Sorry, pardon me. You can donate £5 by texting Big Hearts to 70085, and that obviously money goes directly to the charity to then allow them to, do more work with these things. And I just think it's a very worthy cause. And as I say, the way the world is just now, it's important that these people are recognised for the work that they do.
Definitely, Alan, and thank you very much for that. And even bigger well done to the Big Hearts as well. And as Alan just said, if you want to donate £5 to the Big Hearts Food Test, you certainly can do, and we will leave that in the description if you so wish to donate. But yeah, a big, fantastic, well done to Big Hearts, and may the great work continue throughout the future. So, Alan, moving swiftly on. Scottish Cup semi-final, 16th of April. Another derby, which is the one that you called it, which is the one that you would preferably want to see us face in the semi-final, with the Old Firm playing the next again day. Just before we kind of kick off into the things that we are excited about, obviously there was a bit of a fuss, and quite rightly so as well, concerning like a few things as well, like such things as the kickoff time, and more specifically as well the prices of the tickets. Now I'm totally agreed with you as well. As you said last week, I think Hampden is an absolute shithole, but that's the way it is. But £35 per ticket, I'm just going to say straight up, mate, I think it's far too much. Obviously, as you just pointed out, as well, with the way that the world is just now, and with sort of outside factors, as well, for a lot of people, just to name one, with the build, the going steadily up throughout next month as well. It's going to be quite hard for a lot of families, etc. As well. I mean, just to kind of ask you that same question, as well, do you think £35 is too much, mate?
I think so. I think, like you say, the way the world and everybody's costs of living are going up, which obviously it's just the way things are just now. Yeah. But yeah, I think £35 is a bit steep, to be honest. But it's one of those, when you're going to factor in travelling through to Glasgow, and it's a lunchtime kickoff, so people will be going earlier and getting into the pubs and firing in a few pints before the game, and then after, depending on the result, it'll either be celebrations or drowning sorrows. So you're looking at a very expensive day out. And obviously, I mean, the thing is that Hearts fans are amazing, and we'll still sell it out because we're amazing.
Of course we will. Yeah.
So that it doesn't. I'm not saying that I'm worried we're not going to sell it out, because we will. Hibs probably will as well, because they've not really got anything else to look forward to this season aside from that. But yeah, it could lead to a very expensive day out. But the issue I have with it, I don't know who's to blame for the ticket price, because I heard obviously the SFA are the ones that set the prices, but I think, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think all 4 teams that are involved in the semi-finals have to come to an agreement on the price. So I don't know. I mean, as I say, that could be nonsense. I could have heard that somewhere, but it's interesting, and I like to think that when they go on sale, there's some sort of offers, or there's something, because like we've just been saying, the Hearts charities and all that, it's all about good causes, and the club will be well aware. And I think even Hearts and Hibs maybe already said they weren't happy, or they were disappointed, or they were, there was a statement put out, or there was a thing in the evening news about it, where they basically said they weren't too pleased about the ticket prices. So hopefully they'll be able to do something with it, even if there's travel, or if there's a discount, or for season ticket holders or whatever. But yeah, look, I mean, going on to sort of the other side of it, talking about the kickoff time that I mentioned there, some people were a little bit disappointed that it was a lunchtime game, which again I can understand, because it means an early start to your day. But I think you've got to look at it from a kind of logistical point of view, and the police in Glasgow will not want, two sections of Edinburgh supporters coming through for a 5 o'clock kickoff, because that would be absolute carnage.
It would be, aye.
Not that it won't be carnage anyway, but
No.
there'll be slightly less carnage at 12:15 or
True,
12:30
but,
on
yeah.
on a Saturday afternoon. I always kind of knew it was going to be the Saturday game because of Rangers in Europe. They'll play on the Thursday night, so their game would have to be on the Sunday. So the Saturday lunchtime, I wasn't overly surprised when I heard about that, to be honest.
Well, like, I mean, even if we don't like watch, like, I don't like, you just making for myself, we can look to the positives. So, of course, like we said, it's an Edinburgh derby against Hibs. Were you kind of like, I mean, part of me like kind of doesn't want to play Hibs ever in a final ever again, just to have like that glorious day just there. But part of me kind of wants that again, just to say, well, let's just do it one more time, Alan. Again, I don't know if it's just in the current form that we're in just now, or whether it's because today it is literally a beautiful day, Alan. But I'm feeling really confident. Obviously, when it comes to like derby games, like especially, I know that you and me in particular can be nervous wrecks before, during, and after, like, as well. So, how are you feeling for this one, mate? Because I'm gonna say that, like, for this season in general, I think it is going to generally end that we make third place and we're going to reach like a final. Like, is that your same sort of sentiments, or are you a bit more kind of reserved in that aspect?
I think in typical fashion, I'm kind of on the fence at the moment.
Oh,
I said
back.
it's back. It wasn't going to stay away for long. No, I mean, to be fair, like I said it last week that I wanted Hibs, and I'm delighted that we got Hibs, because I'd rather play them, like you've said, I'd rather play them in a semi-final than in a final. However, a final 10 years on from 2012 would have been poetic justice. But
I know.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, you can look at form and you can say that we're doing really well, and Hibs have been average for a while, but the cliches and everything comes out when you speak about derbies. Oh, form goes out the window. It's about who wants it more, all of these things. So I think I'm confident to an extent, but I would be a lot more confident if we'd beaten them at least once this season, which we've yet to do. Obviously, we've got a chance to do that the week before the final, ahead of semi-finals. So,
true, yeah.
Ask me again after the game at Tynecastle, and I'll let you know what I think then. But I don't fear them. There's nobody in their team that really worries me to an extent where I'm thinking, oh no, we're gonna have to be careful of him. Or I think, player for player on paper, we're the better team. So hopefully that's enough to see us over the line. But yeah, it's just nice, as I say, a hand-in trip, potential of a final. It'd be a great way to end the season, because it's been an amazing season so far. So I think, like you said, third place is pretty much done.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm confident, but also wary, because you just never really know.
Very true, Alan. Very true. But I mean, just to kind of take my view on it, was I'm probably more convinced that we're going to make the final for. So just for like to talk about argument's sake, like, is there anyone of the old firm that you would rather take?
Again, it depends on the title. I think Celtic will be wanting it. I think it's an interesting race between the two of them.
It really is.
Postecoglou, they've already won a trophy this season, the League Cup, so he could be chasing a treble by that point. Look, if we get to a final, we've seen it before. We were a penalty shootout away from beating Celtic the last time that we got to one. So it's possible. It's possible. It's a one-off game to end the season. But look, we've got to get there first.
And we will, Alan. Don't you worry. So, but yeah, the Scottish Cup semi-final, Hearts versus Hibs on the 16th of April at 12 o'clock. And can you wait for another final, Alan? So get that optimistic hat on, sir. Anyhow, so we move on and we go to the game that was held just on Saturday. There, as previously mentioned, Hearts versus Livingston in a 2-0 victory. And just to kind of put the boot in more specifically to Alan, back on level terms of the head-to-head. This isn't over yet, son. Isn't it over yet? That fucking forfeit is no coming my way, mate. My optimistic hat is firmly on the race. Mate, I am absolutely buzzing. It's literally probably only the second or third actual scoreline I've actually got right. And we're nearly at the end of of the season. It is ridiculous. So anyhow. So yeah, of course through myself and through work, I was only able to catch the second half. So Alan, you can have a bit more of a more sort of detailed view of the first half. Of course, it was the same team that we had just last week, apart from the swap with Ben Woodburn, and stepping in for him, and quite rightly so, was Aaron McKay. So Alan, the first half, what did you think? Were there any sort of standouts, sort of performances from yourself in the first half, and what did you think overall?
I think it was one of those games that, before it kicked off, I was thinking, right, this is a big game, and then they were speaking about it in the build up to it, saying, look, we've made a cup semi-final, but let's not think about that now. The next game is the most important game, and that's Livingston. So it was important for momentum that we got a win, because the last thing you want is the players to be focusing on a game that's not happening for a good few weeks.
Yeah.
Because they could have potentially taken their eye off the ball. But I have to say I was really happy with the team selection. Delighted that Mechan got a start.
Yeah.
He deserved it after his performance off the bench against St Mirren. I thought it was fantastic. So really pleased to see him start. He went with the back four again with Kingsley and Halkett at the back. Halliday left back, was it? Was it Halliday?
No, I'm pretty sure it was No. Yeah. Because it was Halliday and then it was Atkinson on the far right.
On the right, Halliday on the left. Yeah, I couldn't remember who the left back was there for a minute, but yeah, he went with the same system, and it looked good. Herring and Benny in the middle in Devlin's absence. But yeah, the first half we just controlled it. It was the sort of game we didn't really need to do too much to be in control. Livingston, I think I read that Martindale was wanting to attack us down the sides, try and target the full-back areas, which teams have done recently. Atkinson obviously getting a bit of a testing over the last few weeks, but they just never really got going because we just didn't let them have the ball. And yeah, I mean, it was a comfortable afternoon, not even just the first half, to be honest. But yeah, and Benny obviously getting a second goal was a nice change. It was exactly the same goal literally against St Mirren, literally the same goal.
Replica, mate.
Yeah, it's nice to see though, because obviously I remember Robbie said a few weeks ago that he's looking for more out of the midfielders, in terms of goals and contributions, and he's constantly telling Devlin or Benny or whoever's in the middle to try and get in the box. At least one of them should be getting in the box. And Benny, to be fair, did it against St Mirren, and he's done it again against Livingston. So it was a good goal for him. His big cheesy smile again. He's delighted that he's got a second goal. He was fantastic again. The only issue, obviously, he went off with an injury not long after that.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was a bit of a worry. Yeah, I think it was a challenge and he jumped over it. The Livingston player came sliding in and he jumped over him, and it was almost the way he landed. He sort of twisted his knee a little bit, and the biggest concern with that is obviously the injury that kept him out for a good few weeks earlier in the season was a knee injury. So you're hoping that it's not the same sort of thing. But equally, it's probably not the worst time to get injuries now, because obviously we've got the international break and the players can have a little bit of a rest. But no, in terms of the game, we controlled it. I expected more from Livingston, to be honest, than what I saw. But yeah, it's just a nice, comfortable stroll in the sunshine.
Absolutely, absolutely, and not to forget, like as well, because as you just said, like of course, like if Benny like is out for like a few weeks, like as well, like we've got that. Yeah, granted, we have got a very small, compact squad, but at the same point, like as you so rightly pointed out last time as well, there is a lot of rotational players in that squad where they're not just like adapted to just one was role as such. Like like there's lots of players that can play in the center, and then go like into like a defensive like sort of position like as well, like etc. And that kind of brings me on to like a question that I was framing up to ask, like to ask yourself like as well. Obviously, just on a side note, just kind of talking about our offensive line, we've got to give a massive congratulations to our main man at the back, Craig Halkett, which as of last night has been called up to the Scotland squad for the very first time. So a big, massive congratulations to that beautiful man. It is more than well deserved for this season. But in that same note, Alan, so of course, like with Twitter being out as well, and now that we've reverted back to this back four as well, I'm not gonna lie, I think Kingsley is kind of slotted into that left-sided central role pretty well. And I think they're between him and Halkett, they're kind of slowly they're building up like a rapport, like sort of with each other, like as well. So my question is, if they kind of build on this like throughout till the end of the season, do you think that we'll even need to get somebody in to directly replace John Suter, or do you think that we will still have to do that, and where Kingsley is kind of playing just now is kind of a short-term thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I think it'll depend on, obviously. I mean, we're going to have European football next season, so
Yeah,
he'll need options anyway.
of course, yeah.
Suter obviously going. Taylor Moore, I don't think we'll see him next season, but we
Nah,
might. But I don't think so.
agree with that.
We've got Toby Sibbick as well, but then Toby Sibbick is capable of playing in midfield as well. So I have a feeling about Toby Sibbick. To be honest, next season I think he'll be a midfielder.
All right, interesting.
Having the option to have him at the back is obviously there as
Mhm.
well. Yeah, I think Kingsley's fantastic. I really do. I think he's, like you say, he's slotted in brilliantly. I wasn't worried when I saw him playing in a 2, but I thought that's interesting, because he's been good in a 3 as the left centre back, and I thought maybe a 2 might put too much on him, but yeah, he's done really well. I still think he's our best left back.
Oh yeah,
Club, to be
100%.
honest.
Yeah.
So I think personally, if we're going to stick with a 4 at the back next season, I think Kingsley's a left back for me. But
Fair enough,
having
yeah.
the option to have him as a centre back is amazing as well. Just on Halkett, I'm echoing what you said about his Scotland cap, or his Scotland call up rather. Everybody knows that listens to this and listens to me rambling on social medias that I was not a fan of Halkett for quite a while.
You and me both, mate. You and me both.
Yeah, it was, he didn't look fit. He looked a bit clumsy, and to be fair, he didn't have the best of partners next to him early on in his career. He had like Berra, Dickamona. He's been handed some average partners next to him, which doesn't help him.
No.
But I think recently, obviously, having a settled defence, and he's got himself fit this season. And a Scotland call-up is absolutely deserved. I was genuinely gutted for him that he didn't get in when the squad was announced. It was just due to injuries that he's been called up. I think they've got maybe 3 or 4 centre-backs that are injured. Suter's out, McKenna's out. I think there's another couple as well. But yeah, I hope he gets involved at some
Definitely.
point for Scotland. It would be nice to see him there. But yeah, no. But back to Kingsley. Personally, I'd rather a left back, and we go and get another defender, even just a cover defender.
Yeah.
A question that I have that kind of leads off from that. It's not the question that I was going to ask you, but it's just popped into my head. It's surrounding Toby Sibbick, as I mentioned. And we've spoken the last couple of weeks about Peter Haring potentially not getting a contract. I can see Toby Sibbick being a Peter Haring replacement next season. I think they have similar attributes in defensive options. I think Sibbick is good with the ball at his feet, as is Haring. We saw Sibbick play in midfield the last time he was with us when Stendhal brought him up. So it could be that they're maybe saying to Toby Sibbick, right, you're not playing a lot just now because he's not. But they could be saying next season could be a midfield option if Haring's not there. I still hope that Haring is there, of course. But there's something in me that's thinking maybe Toby Sibbick is being sort of groomed as that next kind of defensive midfielder.
I get you. I mean, it's an interesting question, mate. I mean, I guess it all kind of falls down to what and how we play throughout next year. Because, of course, like you mentioned, we're going to have European football like as well. So I don't know if the Robbie is going to have like a different sort of game plan in terms of like how we face like etc. I guess as well, like I think it kind of falls down to who's here as well, because obviously with the team and how we're playing just now, like I could probably name at least 5 players right now that are playing amazingly, but are also in danger, like being sold during the summer, which is terrifying. But I think you do have a point. I mean, whether it's like kind of like you said, like if it's going to be in that kind of like sort of defensive midfield role, I think that kind of maybe might be a better suited to him, because obviously, like he's not going to kind of be the player that well, like in my view, he won't be the player that kind of drives the ball and the play up the park. But at the same time, whenever I see him at the back as well, I don't know what it is. Like it might just literally fall down to his body size. Like I think he can be in danger of just being kind of like knocked about a bit, like as the comparison to like say Halkett or Twitter, where they're like fucking units. So I think in that sense, that role, as you just pointed out, might actually be like a good fit for him.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Again, it's good that we're talking about these things in terms of having squad players that can play in different positions. Like
literally,
you said it about Halliday as well. Like I thought since Halliday signed his new contract, by the way, he's been fantastic. He's another player that deserves a huge amount of respect.
So you should. Oh yes, fucking coming on at me saying, "Oh, what's this boy fucking doing here? Get him out of my club. Get him fucking out. A new deal. Get to fuck." I want all the DMs. I want a sorry from everyone. I want a sorry and saying Halliday number 1.
I was waiting on that. That's why I set you up for that. I set you up for that one.
I don't gloat, mate. I don't gloat. It's all good.
No, in fairness, like I said, I've not been a Halliday fan either, but it
I get that, mate.
It just shows you what a bit of form and confidence can do. And
definitely,
he's been solid. But yeah, back to what I was talking about.
Yeah,
having squad options that can play in multiple areas is massive. And if Toby Sibbick can be one of those, that's a positive. Plus, he's young enough as well that he can develop into different positions and play different roles if we need to. But no, going back to the game, because we kind of drifted off a little bit there, as we tend to do.
Always.
I want to, and this is going to be the most predictable thing I'm going to say, and everybody's going to know what I'm going to say. Nathaniel Atkinson. He was good.
I know.
And it makes, and I posted it on Twitter, and I still stand by it. I don't think defensively he's there yet.
Oh,
in
no.
terms of awareness and in terms of getting adjusted to the sort of players he's coming up against, and kind of learning the way to do it in this league. But going forward,
He's
there's
scary wee talent, he is.
He is. There was a couple of occasions in the first half where he ran forward with the ball and he just picked the wrong pass, or he just didn't put enough weight on the pass at the end. But no, I was really, really pleased to see him put in a good shift. Another player that got called up for his country for the first time has been called up to the Socceroos squad, which is great for him.
Brilliant.
I'm sure Devlin would have followed him if he wasn't injured, but Devlin's time will come as well for them.
Definitely.
But yeah, no, I was really, really pleased to see him put in a good performance, because I think he needed that, and I think the fact that Livingston didn't really have a lot going for them kind of helped. Like, Atkinson didn't really need to defend as much as he has done in previous games, because he was just like, give me the ball, I'm going forward.
Literally, Alan, because like that's what I was about to come on to, because like when we got into the second half, like I did think that, I mean, if you want to call it like a positive for them, like they can, but I didn't see that in the second half. Livingston came out really like aggressively. Like, I don't know if that was a message from the Martindale to try and get a bit more in their like, you know, in their faces, to try and, like, you know, like upset the tempo and the rhythm like a play. And to be fair to them, they weren't creating like a lot of chances. I mean, yeah, like there was, like, you know, one from Forest, and I think the player that caused us like maybe the most trouble from them was there was it Ingu or Ingalo.
Oh, it's the guy. Oh God, what's his name?
But
is it not the big forward?
Yes, yeah. I think
not Noble or Nubel or something.
Nubly.
I'm gonna have to look him up now.
Anyhow, so while you're doing that, yeah, I mean, he did manage to catch Kingsley out like a once or twice, but again, apart from that, there wasn't any real threats, like, you know, from Livingston, apart from apart from Jason Holt being a wee arsehole and kicking Peter Haddon.
What's happened to Jason Holt? Like, he's a little angry man. Like, they mentioned it in the Hearts commentary. Like, he is a very little angry man these days, and I don't remember him being like that at Hearts.
I know, no, not at all. Like, I did actually quite like him, like, you know, when he was at Hearts, but, like, you know, again, what can you do? What can you do, Alan?
Yeah. No, I know. But you're right. I think Livingston, in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes of the second half, they had a bit more of the ball. Because, to be honest, they couldn't have been much worse than the first half.
That's true.
But after that, we kind of weathered it, and we got ourselves back in the front foot again. And
I'm going to set you up. I'm going to just like breathe it in. I'm going to breathe it in. I'm going to take my mind back. I'm going to be Wusa right now. I'm going to be Wusa, because I've been waiting. You yourself and many Hearts fans have been waiting for this. So please, you can just set it up, Alan. Please do.
Yeah, so it was a bit of good work from Sims to hold the ball up, and he feeds it out to Atkinson again, who plays a fantastic cross.
Yeah.
And the man, the magnificent marvel, the glorious, handsome man that is Barry McKay, finally scores a goal. And what a goal it was, by the way. What an absolute raker.
Literally what I was about to say, Alan. It wasn't even just a goal. It was a beautiful, well fucking timed shot. And
it was glorious.
Again, like, it was a kind of a lot like the Ben Woodburn goal. I think it was the Dundee United game where we beat them 5-2 at Tynecastle, where he almost just kind of guided it and feathered it in. Like, it was just like, you know, I got, like, you know, butterflies when I saw Benny score. I got butterflies when I saw Devlin score as well. I don't know why this one just meant so much more, because he's been waiting, and he's been waiting so patiently. And again, like, you know, we said like a few weeks ago how this group of players are very much together, like, you know, because it is quite a small squad and they all want each other to do well. just literally almost every single player went across them just to hug him and tell him well done. And he looked like a wee boy that got his favorite Christmas present on Christmas Day. Like he looked generally just so happy, and it was so nice to see.
Yeah, he did, and I think it's funny because they were talking to Benny after the St Mirren game. I think it was after he scored his first goal, and they said, "Oh, are you giving Barry pelters because obviously you've got your first goal before him?" And he basically said, he was like, everybody's at him, everybody's having a laugh at him, telling him to get a goal because everybody's scoring before him. Obviously, Literally got one, Benny got one, and Barry was kind of the last one. It was like, right, you need to get one. But Benny said something like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something on the lines of, "We know when he's going to score one, it's going to be a belter as well." And you just couldn't write it.
Delivered.
Write it.
Literally, it was Andy Halliday, like Jenny was standing there in this fucking belief, like, what just happened? And then you've got Haring, who's fucking, what just happened?
I love it. I absolutely love it. But it leads on to the question I was going to ask you, actually, because I put this out there because I wanted to see what people thought.
Yeah.
I've said about this Hearts team for a while that we lack a real creative, consistent player.
Mm-hmm.
Barry McKay is that player.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Is he the most creative player we've had since Scatchell, or am I like we've gone through some absolute shocking creative players when you think about it over the last few years? Like the team's been average at best. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I put it out there and I simply said Barry McKay, our most creative player since, and left it open for people to give their names of players, and a few came up a few times actually. So
yeah,
I'm interested to hear what you think. And I'm not talking about numbers. It doesn't have to be
about
no,
but just
in terms of their aura and like what they bring to that team. Because Barry McKay for me has that vibe of whenever he gets the ball, something good is going to happen.
Yeah, and that's what makes
I've not felt like that for a while.
Literally, and that's what makes me even more scared when it comes to the transfer window next. But we'll just leave that out there. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to put it down to a consistency, where like because whenever McKay plays, you're going to get at least maybe 3 or 4 really good creative parts of play from him. Like that's just always going to happen. From anyone we've had since then, you could be right. I mean, Scatchell was very a creative flair in that aspect. I mean, just off the top of my head, if we're going to go for like any creative players that come off the top of my head, I mean, you could argue maybe, I don't know. I mean, he's still with the club now, but maybe back in his heyday, like you can maybe say like maybe Jamie Walker, you can maybe say Nicholson, perhaps. Like the Nicholson, he's probably the one that kind of stands out because he's a lot kind of, or he's got similar ways of play to Barry McKay. I think McKay's probably the more creative one, but when it comes down to just literally not flying, but just elegantly just bouncing through players, Nicholson kind of stands out on that. But but I mean, as a predominant, you're probably right. Probably Scatchell.
I think it's an interesting conversation to have, and I think like when I put it out there were a few responses. Friend of the podcast, Daniel McIver, suggested David Templeton. I said Sam Nicholson.
There you go. Yeah.
Jamie Walker came up a few times. The only reason that Scatchell didn't come up as much as I thought he might have done, I think Scatchell had this amazing ability to just not be involved in a game for large periods of it. And then you just pop up with 5 minutes to go and score a goal. So, but people know, I love a creative player. I was a little nippy left winger in my heyday, so I love a little winger that takes people on and beats them. And Barry McKay is just, he's just such a quality player.
I know, again, Alan, but this is what scares me though, because if he starts to add if he starts to add goals as well, he's not here.
He's
not
only
here
got 1 year
next season. You know what I mean?
He's only got 1 year left on his contract. So
I know.
the summer we need to, even before the summer, we need to get him on a contract ASAP. I can understand why they gave him a short contract, because it's like, this is a guy that's not played a lot of football before he came to Hearts, had a few injuries, sort of faded off the radar a little bit, but he's firmly put himself back on that radar with his performances. So
I know, but that's the thing, Alan, because we saw him play for Hearts for the very first time when we got a glimpse of that fucking ridiculous Miley Cyrus fucking haircut. And since then, he's not been out like of the team.
Yeah.
So like, if we're going to talk, like literally, man. So if we're going to talk contracts throughout the summertime, in my view, like he's got to be top boy to get tied down.
100%. I think, like I said, he's been a massive, massive difference to this team. And I've said this before about Liam Boyce as well, having intelligent players around him. Because Liam Boyce against Livingston was fantastic again.
Top man.
Played sort of number 10. He's doing really well in that number 10 role.
I know, like
Sims as well. Did you see the one where the ball came over his shoulder and he one touched it out the air?
I want to give a personal thanks to the Heart of Midlothian Instagram page. Ever since they started putting things in slow-mo, everything just seems better in slow-mo, Alan. Because you just see, like he doesn't even, like, like his face doesn't go all like fucking, what's his name? Phil Jones, or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's literally just composed and just grab it on the foot. Just take that down.
It's a brilliant,
like, you know what I mean?
It's just brilliant touch. But no, what was I saying about intelligent players? Like Liam Boyce is an intelligent player, and I've said it before that if we were to get intelligent players around him, we're onto something. And I think Barry McKay is one of that. He's got that experience, he's got that knowledge, and he knows, like I said, when Barry McKay gets the ball, it's very, very rare that he makes the wrong decision.
Yeah.
When he's got it. Obviously, we've seen a few players at Hearts do a really complicated thing, like beat a player with a ball. Like Ginelli's terrible for it.
Yeah.
He'll skin someone and then he looks up and plays the wrong pass. Or he'll skin someone and then he'll think, oh, that was fun, I'll go back and do it again. And then he loses the ball. Barry McKay doesn't do that. He's got that knowledge of, right, I've beaten the player, I've still got the ball, there's a pass, I'm playing it. And it's just so refreshing to see. And I just think that, like you said, we need to get him on a contract as soon as possible, because he's a player. And
integral.
He's just magnificent. He's just
he's a gorgeous lad as well. Like I know that we can tend to get a bit I know that I can tend to get a bit homoerotic, like like in this channel, but it's a team full of good looking lads. It really is.
It is.
We are
glorious. We are glorious in more ways than
one. Glowing, Alan. So yeah, was it in that same vein, Alan? Like, of course, once we scored the second goal, I think we were pretty much, like you said, like, at the start, it was a very comfortable afternoon for us then to go on and get all 3 points when we go into the international break. So just to kind of round things off, Alan, so obviously we've got 2 games left before the split, which is Ross County away on the 2nd of April, if I'm right in saying, and then straight after that we have got Hibs at home then again for the Scottish Cup as well. So just to kind of clarify, so we're sitting on 53 points with 7 games left. That's a possible 21 points. Now, if my maths is correct, if the results go our way throughout the next 2 games, we could potentially have third place wrapped up before the split itself. Do you think we will? Or do you think we'll kind of carry that on to the split? Because personally, I think if we do get it wrapped up before the split, then we can literally focus our whole attention on to the semi-final, and then i.e. in that very same turn as well, when we do go into the split, it can then maybe encourage Robbie to maybe give, for like example, some of the academy players like some time on the actual pitch as well, because like this is a whole like sort of another story for another podcast. But I think if you're going to name some negatives throughout this season, where there's not a lot, but at the same time, it's something that I still feel is kind of lacking in the system at Hearts right now, where I think the lack of youth, especially coming through the academy, is something that I think kind of needs to like improve at least a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the league split. I've never been a fan of the league split, to be honest. I don't understand why we have it, but for no other reason other than to just get another Old Firm derby in before the end of the season. I genuinely can't see any other reason to have it. I think it'll be one of those seasons this year where the team that finishes 7th will probably end up with more points than the team that finishes 6th, because that
literally it's ridiculous.
But yeah, I think we should be going to Dingwall against Ross County and looking for a win.
Absolutely.
Just briefly, Robbie said after the Livingston game, and this is the mentality that I love. He said, he wasn't happy with the performance against Livingston, and he said that we can create more and we should be taking more chances. And I think he's right. He's right. But that again, that's the attitude that you want, because you've just won 2-0, a comfortable afternoon. No dramas, no sweat, nice and easy. And then your manager comes out and says it's not good enough. You're like, well, that's good. That's
good. No, and absolutely.
If we can take that kind of attitude forward, then the players will be going, right, we need to be scoring 3-4 goals at home against teams like Livingston. But no, look, going away to Dingwall won't be easy. It will not be an easy tie. But it's a tie we can win.
100%.
And then obviously we've got the Edinburgh derby at Tynecastle after that. I think that'll be a really interesting game, because it'll depend where both teams are, to be honest. I think Hibs might look at it and go, we're still pushing for top 6. We have to win this. We might be looking at it going, well, we're third. We're focusing on the semi-final. We're not that fussed. But it's an Edinburgh derby, so we'll want to win it.
Exactly.
And obviously, going into a cup semi-final, you want to put them away so that they're in a bad mood before then. But we'll see. I think it's doable. 6 points is doable. I'd be happy with 4 points out the next 2 games, to be honest. But yeah, I think 4 points might be enough, depending on what happens below us. But yeah, it's been an amazing season. And
it has.
Our form post splits is never good. We don't do well in the league split. So if we don't need to get maximum points, or we don't need to say get 5 games, 15 points, if we don't need to get 10, 12 points, and we can just say,
it's done.
Our objective's been met. I'd quite like to see some academy players in. Stephen Naismith's doing well with them.
Yes, indeed.
They're in a cup final, actually. I think it's against Rangers. I could be wrong. It could be. It's either Rangers or Celtic.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they won the Edinburgh derby the other day. They won 1-0. Yeah, I think that's something that the club going forward needs to look at, because Hearts have been a club that for years have been very good at bringing through young players from their academy and giving them chances, and we haven't really seen that recently.
No.
So that'll be a long-term aim, I'm sure, for Savage and Robbie and those behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. But like I said before, and it is like another topic for another podcast. So obviously, of course, as we said at the start, we go into the fabulous international break, which leaves us a 2-week gap. So obviously, we don't know, like due to sort of outside circumstances, like we don't know if we'll do a pod next week or what we'll actually do it on. So just in case, Alan, what actually ever happens, I'm going to ask you for a prediction, and it better be well thought out, sir, because we're both in no man's land right now, because it could literally be a toss-up. So I'm going to ask you for a prediction for the trip for Dingwall in a few weeks, and then we'll revisit it on the next podcast, whether that be next week or the week after. So since I picked last time, you have the floor, sir, to pick this week.
Well, I'm going to go with the scoreline I should have went with last time, and I was tempted, and I was going to go with. Let's just rewind that for a second. So
you literally
I
did. I'm not going to
said,
say it.
I said that it would be 2-0 against Livingston, and then you said 2-0, and I went right. I'm going 3-1 just to make it interesting. I should have stuck with 2-0.
Alan, maybe it's something that we could do for next year, where we don't actually have to say our predictions. We can literally write it down first and then go 3-2-1. That's our score, and then it'll be a
Maybe
bit
that's
better.
better.
It can be a bit better, but again, all things for next year, mate. So you're going to go for a 2-0 win in Dingwall.
Yes, that's right. 2-0.
Correct. Nice one, sir. Well, I'm going to go for a less optimistic, but still a win nonetheless. We're going to go for a 1-0 win to Hearts. Because anytime that I say we're going to thump, we're going to pump, we're going to shag somebody, it never actually happens, much like my life. So yeah, we'll go with that. So we'll go with a 1-0 victory for Hearts. And like we said as well, we'll keep you updated for the podcast next week, or if not, the week before. But also, as I said at the start, guys, if you want to give a donation to the Big Hearts charity, please do. All the info will be in the description, as well as the link and the info if you want to make a donation to the Big Hearts charity. And that brings us to the end of the 45th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast. Thank you to everybody who has watched this, and if you are still not subscribed to the Since I Was Young podcast, please think about subscribing. Smash that like button as always, and if you want to get in contact with us through our socials as well, they're on screen and in the description, all at SIWY Pod. If you want to get in contact with us through our email as well, you certainly can, since I was young 1874 at gmail.com, and alternatively as well, if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan, please feel free to do so. Our links will be in the description. So from myself and Alan, thank you very much for joining us on this glorious day as it is still now. It's absolutely beautiful, and I might go and actually get myself a wee drink, so that'll be a nice well day wrapped off. So from myself and Alan, we hope you're all well, and we will see you next time. You take care. Bye for now.